to the Finance Committee of Macclesfield Town Council on the 11th of November. So, any apologies from absence, Clark?
Councillor Sarah Bennett-Wake and Councillor Emma Gilman.
Very good. And any declarations of interest from members? Councillor Wilcott.
Like to declare a non-pecuniary interest in item 5.1. Although I'm not involved in the project at the moment, during COVID, and I was instrumental with Andrew to set up or start the basis of the food bank on Upton Priory.
Very good. Any other conflicts of interest that anyone needs to declare? No? Excellent. We'll move on to the finance minutes from the July meeting. So they are a little bit of a while ago, and actually I wasn't at it, and it was chaired by Sarah Bennett-Wake. So would anyone, those people that were present, Councillor Harewood, Councillor Wilcott or Councillor Hutchinson, would any of you happy to propose them and happy to second them? Lovely. Is everyone in agreement with that, who was present? Excellent. And obviously I'm abstaining because I wasn't there. So we'll move on to the first grant.
So,
Updates from the minutes. Don't know that there is any, is there?
no, just,
Any updates from the minutes?
Don't think so, but if it was missed out, people were watching the name wonder why.
Yes, that would be terrible, isn't it? So no updates, any updates at all? It's quite a while ago, isn't it? July, but we missed the September meeting due to illness, so that's why we're looking back all the way back to July. So we'll move on to the next part of the meeting, which is the grant applications, and we will take these in order. So 5.1 is the Upton Youth and Community Project, £2,000. Is somebody, would you like to be speaking to that? Lovely, excellent.
Firstly, thank you very much for the opportunity to come and talk. Very briefly, the Upton Youth and Community Pantry is a subscription-based type of food bank. People pay £3.50, and they allow 15 items of shopping plus fruit and veg and bread, which is on top of the 15 items. To be eligible, they need to be resident in the Upton area. The pantry, as it's called, has been going for about 4 years and has grown from, in the days of lockdown, where a handful of parcels were delivered to people on the estate, to last month where we had 526 shopping visits. And with people taking 15 plus items, that's 8,000 items of food that were claimed by people visiting the pantry. The growth has been spectacular. We're now 36% busier this year than we were last year. The growth, in some ways, is not good because it reflects growing needs in the area. But it also, I think, reflects growing awareness of the service that's provided by the pantry. The Upton estate has some of the most needy residents in the borough. Looking in terms of percentage unemployed, percentage poor health, percentage claiming benefits, and percentage receiving universal credit. So the social needs are quite clear, and our strategy in coping with this growth is we are trying to keep the funds at £3.50 per visit per customer and keep the items at 15 plus. And we're trying to cope with the increasing costs by bringing in more volunteers. The form said we have 20 plus. We counted them up a couple of weeks ago. We now have over 30 volunteers. So we're trying to control the costs by increasing more volunteers. But we needed to employ a driver for all the collections of food we do at the various supermarkets. And previous year we had a small profit, if you like, in our operations of 4,000. That's turning into a small loss this year. Hence we're trying to seek donations, grants, contributions from individuals to help us keep the service running as it is without any dilation of service. I think the people who run the food bank are learning as they go along. We're linking in with Create and Silk Life Food Bank to learn more about operating this successfully. And the surplus food that we have, that we can't use in the week, we send to Scoop and Scales Angel at your table. So we're connected with other people throughout the community. So we run a Christmas project because we don't operate through the Christmas period, and that brings us extra cost as well. So we're hoping that we might get some of this money to defray to our Christmas project, where we look to give a wider range of services and products to our customers. I think that's probably 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's very good, lovely, thank you very much for that. And so we do have Councillor Gilman has got something to.
Yes, so Councillor
talk
Gilman
about.
can be here, but she sent me this email with some questions. So it says, I'll just read it out. It says, are you a food bank or a reduced food waste group? In my experience, you charge £3.50 for people to come along and select 15 items from your pantry. Anyone can access your service as long as they have registered with you. There is no referral process, it is open to all. This is a positive thing, and I am in support of reducing food waste. However, your grant mentions purchasing top-up food. If you are looking to reduce food waste, why would you purchase more food? As you are not limited to referred families, and anyone, regardless of their financial situations, is able to access your service, are you not running the risk of paying money to buy food which you then are making available to users to purchase at a massively subsidised rate, when in fact they could have afforded to pay it at full price? And she just put, I'm unable to agree the grant that uses public money to purchase top-up food, which will potentially be bought by those who have no financial need for this.
Yeah, I mean, essentially it is surplus food. But what we find is that the purchase top-up is essentially tins, where there's long-dated items that can supplement what we have on offer. If we didn't do the purchase top-up, there would be a limited range for people. We do find that tins are popular, and because we buy them in bulk, they're bought at quite an attractive price. There's an organisation called Banquet, which isn't like a bank, it's BANKUET, that we use when people donate to the Banquet system, and we get what's available from Banquet at a favourable price. So I accept the point that's made, but we do work hard to overcome that point.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I think one of the things was, can anybody use it?
There is a residential qualification for the estate, so people register and then they have to give their details, and then anybody in the postcode area can use it.
And that would be regardless of their
There's
financial
no-
situation.
There's no referral from
Okay.
a needs basis in order to use the
Yeah.
service.
That's what she was getting at.
Yes, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything, would anyone like any questions or anything like to say anything, Ava?
I just
Councillor
wanted to know,
Harold?
is this growing more, is this a thing growing larger and larger, or
Yes,
not
it-
shrinking at all?
Sorry, I missed the last
Is it
bit.
not shrinking at all, the need
No,
for food?
no, it's growing. As I mentioned, we had our busiest month ever in October just gone, with 526 visits over the week, the 2 days we operated, Wednesday and Thursday. And that's 36% up on 2023. So the needs are rising, I'm afraid.
Mr. Hutchinson?
Yeah, I'm just reading in the newspapers that the supermarkets are on a big push to become a lot more efficient. I wonder whether you you've seen that in terms of the number of items that you can collect locally from supermarkets? Has that gone down yet?
No,
or
we
have
haven't seen that.
Not seen that.
No, in some cases, it's about building a relationship. So we try and have the same volunteers going to the same places, and just the friendly relationships does seem to work for us in terms of building our connection. But we haven't seen that yet.
But the grant is just for buying food. That's
The-
not
the-
supply.
The grant is to help us cope with the demand, the growth in demand.
Thank you.
Councillor?
Not a question, just a comment. Obviously, I live on the Upton Priory. I remember back in when COVID restrictions were imposed and in place, and I spoke with Andrea about what we were able to do on the Upton Priory. What we see now is completely different to what it was. It was bags of fruits and vegetables that we were able to source, that Andrew was able to distribute around the estate. I obviously seen what's transpired to now the pantry. It was quite heartwarming to see the amount of tables with food on for the residents, not just of the supply, but the small wider area. The fact that I live on the Upton Priory, I know the difficulties that people have, and I hear many good stories about what's being done at the core and the food pantry. As I said, I have declared an interest. I won't be voting it, but I fully support what you're doing, because there are people that are in such dire need. Obviously, COVID was the main reason it started, and now 5 years later we've got a cost of living crisis going on. So I do fully support what you're doing down on the estate to help people who I live amongst.
Thank you.
Last one from you.
It's just you've certainly got the right to vote on it. Just
Yeah, you can vote, yeah.
you can vote on it.
You
So
can absolutely vote on it. It's not
next
you,
year.
it's not
No,
that
no, no.
closely linked to you, so I wouldn't worry. Councillor?
I'd just like to propose that the full grant of £2,000
Lovely, thank you very much.
is
And I will
awarded.
speak and then I will second it. So I totally understand the issues, because obviously Create, and here I speak as a trustee of Create, we have exactly the same difficulty, and you either put the burden on statutory services to confirm that somebody's in need, and actually statutory services have got far too much to be doing, they don't need that extra work, or you just have to trust. And we have exactly the same policy as you as a Create trustee, because we want to be able to just trust people, and we don't want to burden statutory services. Obviously, you open yourself up to the risk that people will abuse your generosity,
Yeah.
but I think that's a risk that we and the Core and Create have all accepted as being part of the deal. And I think the other thing that we felt, speaking as Create trustee again, was that we didn't want to stigmatise people. And if you get a wide range of people turning up, then it's not stigmatising. It's everyone can go, anyone can go, it can be food waste, you can find a real mix. And so it's not that I go to the food bank, I've got to scuttle in, it's much more open. And we felt that was a real positive thing. So I actually have to say I absolutely disagree with Councillor Kilman on this particular point, and that's why I will second it. So should we go to a vote? And you can vote, Councillor. You chose not to, that's fine, but everyone in favour? Lovely, and one abstention. Lovely. I think that's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
We look forward to hearing about your update. So we move on to My Cheshire Without Abuse, and we've got to speak of that. Lovely. You're welcome to stay or happy to go if you want.
Thank you.
And this is a request for £680 for a total cost of the project of £2,500.
So my name's Michaela East. I'm a community fundraiser at Cheshire Without Abuse, or we're now known as MyCWA. So our head office is in Crewe. We have our lovely charity shop, Live Free charity shop down the road from here. So we very much support Crewe, Macclesfield our vision is for local communities to live fear-free from the fear of domestic abuse, basically. We've received this vision for our Engage approach, so it's a whole family, whole system approach to ending domestic abuse. We've established very long-standing relationships with all relevant partners across Cheshire. We have trusted links with the community. We're known for aiming never to turn anyone away. So we support any survivors, any victims, any children, and then we also work with perpetrators to keep our survivors safe as well. We understand that family dynamics and relationships are really complex. We like to see everyone, the whole person, and completely gauge dynamics within a family unit. Okay, so we currently hold our peer support lounge in Macclesfield. I don't know if anyone's aware, but when we had the funding cuts at the start of this year, we actually had to close our office in Macclesfield, so we only have the space in the shop and then a small bit out the back. So at the moment, our peer support group is kind of crammed into the back of the shop. And I spoke to our Amplified Voices lead this week, and she said it was absolutely full this week, to the point where she did not have a chair. And so we are actually, after I heard that, I was like, we might need to look for another location. So it's obviously a very well-used service within Macclesfield. So our key deliverables for that service are, it is for our women survivors, so it gives women the available access to specialist support and guidance. It supports them to feel safer and seen and heard. It empowers them through educational sessions, and it cultivates friendships and support networks, which is really, really important to get people through the trauma of dealing with domestic abuse. Over the past year, our attendance has increased. Now, having limited space, we're obviously at full capacity, but that won't hold us back. We'll definitely find somewhere else to carry on expanding. The future of the group is that we do, as a community fundraiser that writes books all the time, I'm constantly seeking to keep this service running. So obviously, if my grant is passed tonight, it will literally just be a top-up fund to a continual pot for this essential service. It improves emotional well-being, mental health management for all participants. It's been a really fantastic service that Macclesfield, I think, really needs.
Lovely, thank you very much. Anyone got any questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Hutchinson?
Well, when you say it was really full, does that mean that has gone beyond the you've got to say 8 to 10 people attended?
Yeah.
So it's gone beyond that.
No, it was literally at full capacity.
So that's the limit, 10
yeah.
people.
So obviously, people can attend, but we also work on a referrals basis. So you can imagine, like, people, other professionals working in the sector, they're referring in all the time. Sometimes people come for one session or 2 sessions, but sometimes they make friends and they like the guidance that they receive. So we have a lot of repeat people that come, and we only hold, I think it's every fortnight that we hold in Macclesfield, yeah.
You did say, just to make sure I heard, that you do work with the abuser as well.
We do, yeah, we work with perpetrators.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah, Councillor Neville?
Does that mean the people who come, move out, don't come back, that there's a kind of outcome for the trauma? What is the outcome?
Yeah, so as a whole organisation, we very much work on our deliverables, outcomes. We're assessing our service all the time. So we've had some lovely success stories in the sense that sometimes when someone's experienced domestic abuse, they know something's wrong, but they think, oh well, it's not domestic violence, I'm not being hit, I'm not in hospital, but it could be something kind of what they class as like, oh, am I even being abused? So they just need someone to talk to. They can work through that trauma, and also they will go through an assessment, and if it's necessary, they will lead on to some specialist support as well. So yeah, once they're kind of in, we gauge where they need to be, and sometimes they just come to a few support sessions, and that's them fine. But sometimes they need kind of more.
I'm sorry to break in, so you don't see them again?
No, they can come back.
don't have a question at all. I'm just delighted to see the 5 ways to well-being
Yes.
in an
It's actually
application.
really
So
lovely,
for people who don't know that, that's 5 ways to well-being. Connect, as in connecting with people, taking notice of your surroundings, keep learning, be active, and give. And if you can do those every day, the evidence shows that actually that's really good for your mental well-being. So
Would you get so many volunteers come back and actually volunteer? So many
excellent.
survivors come back
To be volunteers. Well, that's wonderful, isn't it? They then give of their time,
Yeah.
and that's a wonderful big way because it will help empower them.
It does, yeah, very much so.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm very happy to support this. I think it's a really important service, and I think it's well set up. I know your organisation. I feel happy that you are able to keep the women secure, and that's a good thing. Is there, so no other questions, anyone would want to propose? Councillor Hutchinson?
I'm very happy to propose
Lovely.
the full amount that you've asked for.
Yeah, anyone particularly want to second? Right, I'd be happy.
Yep.
Lovely. Should we take it to the vote then? All in agreement? Lovely. Thank you very much. That's agreed. So we can look forward to happy to stay if you want, or you can go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Next one on the list is P3 charity. So, lovely.
Watermill House, which is our care leader series for young people between the ages of 16 and 25. We're looking at £245 for pumps and vital care kits for the young people that we've got in service at the moment. So basically we get these people, well, young people coming through our service, if they're suffering with homelessness or if they've, the leading care system, etc. We support them with like early learning skills, poverty, unemployment, stuff like that. And sometimes they get donated, well, a lot of them have got bikes that have been donated to them. And unfortunately they're falling into disrepair, and this is like their main mode of transport. So what's happening is the bikes are getting punctured and they're sitting in the garage and you can't use them again. And as I say, this is like their main mode of transport. Some of them have got people's public funds and stuff. So you have a lot of money for taxis and buses and stuff like that. So we've got a staff member who's a bit of a bike professional, and he's offered to teach the young people how to maintain the bikes and stuff. And what we were thinking was that we get these pumps, these tools, and then we teach them the skills, and then once they move on, they keep the tools, keep the bikes, and
Keep the schools.
keep the skills. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's brilliant. That is really good. Well done. Any questions at all? Councillor Hutchinson?
Have you got any bikes
Oh.
yet?
Councillor Hutchinson first. Sorry, Councillor Hayward.
You say you've got 13 people, young people at the moment.
Time flexible now, and I've got 3 disability practices, but we've got 18 young people in service at the moment.
15.
13.
30.
Yeah, but we've got capacity for 15.
So your application, it says for 14 puncture repairs and 15 bike pumps.
What we were thinking was that, it can be like sometimes someone missing, some get broken, so,
Spares.
or if somebody, because when they're moving on and stuff, if so many people come, they can have the pump in it, or we perhaps a communal pumping toolkit as well.
Okay, that's explained that very well, thank you.
So yes, my question, you actually answered it, which was who's going to, it's one thing to get the necessary equipment, isn't it, but who's going to do the actual teaching and learning. But if you've got a staff member who, and I would suggest that if we agree it, that we're not overly prescriptive about what you need to buy, but you might need a can of WD-40 and a track pump more than, and you're the person who's doing the skills and will know what to buy. Councillor Hayward, did you have a question?
Yeah. What my question is, with these bikes, where would the young people, are they living at home?
No, they're living in
Are they out of parents' home?
Yeah, so a lot
They're just living by themselves.
yeah, so they come in to stay in our Watermill House flats, which is
Okay.
24-hour supported living
Okay.
property. So they either, like I say, live in care or homelessness, or some of them are unaccompanied asylum seekers. So they're staying in our flats. So yeah, not living with parents or family members or anything like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all? I'd just like to congratulate you. Well done for speaking. That was excellent. And also, I think it's an excellent idea, an excellent project. It's good for mobility. It opens up opportunities. As you say, there will be bikes around. People often donate.
Yeah.
I know actually the police often have a big stack of bikes, don't they? But they often need a bit of TLC.
Yeah.
As I say, it's good for health to be able to cycle, so I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea. And I would just say, don't be overly prescriptive. Don't worry if you don't exactly buy what you've said. It's the 245 is for the person who knows what they need, the skilled person who's going to teach.
Yeah.
They'll know what they need to purchase, and it might not be quite what's written down, but if it's to help get these bikes and people up, the skills up and running and the bikes up and running, then that's fine.
Okay.
Is anyone other than me, have you got a question or would you like to propose?
Just happy to propose that we give the full £245. As you've mentioned, Chair, it's a fantastic project for young people. Trying to get from A to B as a young person can be difficult. Obviously, motor transport is quite expensive. Cycling is the next best option. As she said, it benefits health, and it's it allows people to get about their daily lives, and if you get a puncher, it's an absolute nightmare. So yeah, I'm more than happy for the grants.
You're proposing?
Yep.
I'm absolutely seconding. Shall we go to vote? Lovely, all in agreement? Lovely, thank you very much. You can stay or you can go, well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations for speaking. So Custbank School aren't able to send anyone, but I think we've read the project, and as I was saying before, I think I know what a toothbrush is and I know what brushing your teeth is, so I think we're pretty okay with understanding it. How do people feel about agreeing it without somebody to speak? It's £122.40. Would you, yeah?
Yeah, with the decline in people's access to dental services, I think that more and more of these issues are being pushed towards schools, and it's probably the right place for it to go. You know, sometimes we've heard quite a lot about education recently, and I've been in education, as probably know, for a long time. And there's that old argument that we're not social workers. Well, in fact, teachers probably are the closest you're going to get to it. So I'm absolutely in favour of this project, and hopefully many more like them.
Yes, Councillor Hale?
Thank you. I'd like to say I welcome the initiative of this teacher and the comments of the dentists and all that, and all the programs of dentists. What did the parents say? Have the parents of these children got any input into their children's teeth? Or were they asked to contribute a small amount? What was there a parent input in this idea that a teacher is going to be responsible for the dental care of their children? I thought I heard nothing about what the parents want. Are these orphans or what? It's a small amount, and
So
I
are you
am
willing to
I'm
agree
re-
it,
I'm
Councillor
ready.
Harewood, or would you like somebody to come and speak?
Yes, I would like to know what the parents think about that,
Okay.
about
So I
the
think-
children's teeth. While it is an excellent project, and I like the dentist's input and the health input, and I too was in the dental health game for decades, is there a parent idea here? I don't know that there is, or that hasn't come up. Maybe there is. That
I
hasn't come.
personally would have been happy to agree this, because I actually think it's really important that we foster health promotion within the people who are going to be continuing the health promotion. And I think if you can encourage children to learn a particular skill, then actually it will stay with them lifelong. If they're forced to do it by an external parent, then the still might not stick. But I'm happy to defer it if you'd like to, and we can ask somebody to come and speak. But Councillor Hutchinson, Councillor Cost, you'll go first. Councillor Hutchinson.
Yeah, well, I'm not happy to defer it. I think that situation with tooth decay in children in the current day is appalling.
So you'd like to propose it?
I'd like to propose that we
Councillor
the full amount.
Cost, would you like to?
I'd like to second Councillor Hutchinson's proposal. All areas of health are important, no matter what age, and if we're able to make a small contribution to the dental health of young people in our town, I think it's a massive benefit.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to take your position on your seconding, and I'm happy to take it to a vote. So could we vote? And one abstention. Lovely, so that's carried in absence. And possibly if it's a successful project, we can hear back from them, and we can encourage maybe other schools to consider this particular project if it is a success. So let's move on to item 5.5, which is the Tuesday group, and ask Councillor Warren, who's been sitting very patiently, to come and talk to us about the Tuesday group.
It's a shame I couldn't speak on the last item because I'm a governor.
Oh, would you like to?
No.
Anyway, we passed it
Because
forward.
it's not my area, especially,
No.
and people briefing, that's obviously health and wellbeing, the project is for. I'm here to ask for £1,800 for a group, the Tuesday group, although they meet on a Wednesday now, which is how it is, isn't it? It was something I founded along with local PCSO on my ward in around 2017. And at that time there was a community skate centre on Goodall Street, and it was run by a good friend of mine, and he allowed us the use of a community room. In fact, anybody could use it for free, there was no charge. So we set up this group for elderly women, and isolate, you know, it was to prevent isolation, social isolation. And there was no charge at that time, the hall. So we only became constituted really in about late 2018, when the business of the state centre was closing down. And we realised that I'm going to have to move to another location where some rent would be expected. So that's when I came to the town council in 2019 for £650, something like that. We then took the group. I say we, I'm just the treasurer stroke spokesperson for the group. I don't actually go and knit and nat, but I do go and speak to ladies on a regular basis. They predominantly are well over the 70s, some in their 80s, there's quite a few in the 90s. One today, Mildred, 95, regular attender. And it's a really good group. They all chuck in £1 or 50p a week for the brew stuff, etc, etc. They were in Morton Hall for probably 2.5 years, but they were put downstairs in the cellar by the charity that ran Morton Hall, and it was down old stone steps, and it wasn't suitable. So we moved across the road to the Bridges Retirement Centre. There were a few issues there, and COVID came along, and after COVID, the Bridges said, we haven't really got room for you anymore, even though there's 2 or 3 of our residents involved in this group. So they moved again, they've gone to St Paul's Church Hall. And St Paul's Church Hall is part of the Cheshire East Connected Communities, so it attracts funding to deal with things like social isolation. So they gave the last 12-18 months to the group for free. However, the Connected Communities funding has lapsed and it's not being renewed. So there is now a need for the group to find funds for them to stay as a group. Hence the request for £1,800, which effectively is 2 years' rent. They have small reserves, about £750, they're going to put 600 of that in to buy material because they knit and crochet. They do bubble hats for the newborn babies for the maternity unit. They do various things for East Cheshire Hospice that they contribute, they donate, and then the hospice raises funds off those items. So that's it in a nutshell, really. That's why we've come to you for this would be. It sounds like a lot of money, but really, if you split it over 2 years and it's 90 different weeks, actually it's not that much. It's £20 a week, and it's a group of 30 or 40, very elderly, and some, you know, very poor people, and it gives them an opportunity to be checked on by their friends. So it's a bit of a welfare thing there as well. So I'm conscious I've said enough now. I have 2 minutes. I'll let you have you, unless anyone's got any questions.
Any questions? Yes?
Yeah, my only question was linked to the reserves, because I was thinking, sitting on 750 reserves,
Yeah.
and the initial idea was to say, well, you could obviously put that in, but you've just explained that 600 of that is being used for materials anyway, to benefit,
pretty much,
to benefit
Yeah.
like babies and things like that, so.
Okay, any other questions?
Not a question, comment, stroke proposal. Councillor Lauren, I know that you're passionate about this. You, if I remember rightly, you used part of your budget a few years ago to assist with the expansion of this group. As you've mentioned, social isolation in older people is a worry, and if you can secure a group for almost 2 years to be able to carry on meeting, carry on the fantastic work with the Cheshire Hospice, the maternity unit, I think it's a wonderful thing that you set your heart on. So I'm more than happy to propose this, unless there's anybody else who has.
I'm more than happy to second all poor women. Good project. Knowing poverty all my life, I'm happy to support all poor women.
Should we take it to a vote?
Yes.
Voting, lovely, all
And
agreed.
poor women.
Lovely. Thank you. So that was all the different grant applications. So we'll move on to the grant updates. Thank you, guys. So, so 6.1, anything to say about the Child Safety Media project? Yeah? That's all got.
Yeah, so I'm pleased to see the report. I did attend as the mayor on one of the days, and quite funnily enough, the day that I attended, it was actually St Albans Primary School. My daughter attended, so I knew some of the children. It was great that the group that I was with were engaging in what they were being taught through different mediums, and also in relation of safety, just due to carbon monoxide, alcohol, and it kind of opened our eyes to know what to look out for, and danger as well. So yeah, no, from my point, it was great to see the money being spent.
Yeah. No, it looks like an excellent full report. Absolute excellent report. Yeah, I think it's all good. Thank you very much to the Child Safety Media team. Anyone anything to say about 6.2, the MS Society on their barge trip? Anything? No. Space for Autism, 6.3. Got some nice pictures there. We always like pictures, and some nice children feedback. That's always nice, isn't it? Hear people's voices coming through. Space for Autism. I'm just going to read one out because, yeah, Space for Autism are amazing. Just wonderful to see, wonderful and nice to know that there is a charity there to help with the needs before and after diagnosis. So that's great. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I just want to say a big thank you. These were, so that's excellent. So a very nice report, and I think that was a very useful little bit of funding for their Saturday project. Anyone got anything to say about the Reach Out and Recover grant update? 6.4. Councillor Howard?
I would like to say I congratulate that group for recovering and good outcomes and positive outcomes. And it's been a great thing to acknowledge that this failure in humanity, I should say, and to reach out and recover. And I think recovery is so good.
Yeah, no, it's, maybe we'd like to just suggest that for the size of the grant, we maybe need a little bit of a larger report, but I'll talk to one of the team afterwards about that one. Anyone got any comments on 6.5, which is St Peter's Church and their World Harvest Festival? I wasn't able to attend, I don't know if anyone did. I know people that did, so I heard about it. No particular comments. It's a nice report. Anything from Moss Rose Scouts? No. I just like to say I do like a picture, and I like to see a very well based shed. That is a good solid base there, isn't it? That's going to last.
It was nice to see the shed.
It's a good shed, isn't it?
Better to visualise it.
Exactly, and I do think that's a good solid base, because there was a lot of concern about the base, but that's that's going to last the test of time, isn't it? So well done to the Moss Rose Scouts for getting that solid base to their shed. And what have we got next? Oh, that's the MS ones. Come on.
There's two MS ones.
Oh, yes. I thought I'd seen some pictures of the barge.
One was interim and one was.
Nice, okay, so the barge one. Yes, thank you
Yeah,
very
it's
much
the
for
same
the
one,
photos
but-
again.
Because we've missed, yeah.
And again, we love pictures, so it's lovely to see happy, smiley people. It makes it very worthwhile. And then the Create one, I obviously won't comment on this because of the Create trustee, but I might actually put that one aside because again, it's a large bit of money, isn't it? And I think that needs to be a little bit larger of a report, so we'll talk about that afterwards. Thank you to everyone who gave the reports. We'd like to hear the updates for the grants that we've given out, and we'll move on to item number 7, which is the budget that we would like to take. Budget for 2025-26, and we would like to approve the budget, suggested budget, so that we can take it to full council in December. So I think, do we have a few people who are going to say things about the budget?
Can I just say that when it went to services, it was a 7% increase, and the reason it's lower, there's 2 reasons. One is that we now have from the local authority the amount of houses, so there is more houses, so it's brought it down.
I mean, the increase to the precinct.
Yeah. And the floral contract for next year, we have budgeted that it would go up, but because we're kind of unsure of what's happening because of the Mac on Foot project, ANZA have agreed to keep the prices the same for 1 year, so that's gone down a bit. However, we have just one thing, is that we collect footfall figures which we use for our events to show increase or decrease or what's working well or not. Cheshire East are no longer paying for the footfall. Therefore, I've got the quote for the footfall, and it is roughly £3,000 a year. There's no set-up cost because they've kept the counter in place, and we don't have to pay anything for the equipment. So it's £3,000 a year for 3 years, or 2,700 if we do it for 5 years. So at this point, it would be good to potentially include that in the budget now to go forward to full council. So that's
Absolutely.
something. If anybody knows that, if you after when
Any
you've done the
questions about
discussions.
that? Do we need to ask any?
5 years sounds good.
Is 5 years cheaper? Did I hear that?
Yeah,
Cheap,
2,700. Yeah.
Long.
Okay.
You see, the difficulty would be in switching to another provider.
Yeah.
Is that they all collect in different ways.
Yes. And we
And
need to
so-
compare, don't we?
Yeah, and
That's
so
the
there
whole
would then
point.
be an anomaly,
Yeah.
and it might not be, and because most of the events take place in Marketplace, it would be good to carry on
Yeah.
what we've been doing. So that's why we would want to keep it the same provider.
I would be happy to put that onto the budget line. I think we use the data, and that, if that's over 5 years, that's
2,700 a year.
oh, and a year.
A
Oh, I
year
see.
for 5 years.
Okay, fine.
3,000.
If we were just
Yeah, because I only got them today, so.
Okay.
Still saving around about £1,500 over 5 years though.
Mm.
Thereabouts.
I suppose, yeah. I think it's not, we do use it enough, but I think we do make some quite major decisions on the back of that footfall data.
And it has helped us get grant funding from UK SPF.
Yeah.
It's tied into a lot of our projects where that's how we show value for money. It's one of the ways we show from events. You know, if we were to give £10,000 to an event, we would want to see that footfall go up, you know, so.
How many
And
events roughly? 10 a year?
yeah, and it's, well, if you include things like Treacle Market,
Yeah.
etc., and then also a lot of the landlords use it to be able to get people to come to the shops, you know, the Grosvenor Centre use it, rightly or wrongly, whether they should be contributing, but lots of people use it, which actually ends up having a more positive effect on Macclesfield.
Is it? Is Cheshire East paying £3,000 a year?
Cheshire East were paying it.
Because there's no difference in price if we
No.
pay.
No.
Anyone got any other questions about that? Do we need to take it to a vote? Do we need to propose and second it, or are we?
You need to propose and second it, but it might be worth any other discussions, and then we can do them all.
Okay,
If the
good. Then to Councillor Woodcock.
Thank you, Chair. I attended the Remembrance service down in Sansoft yesterday. Always a poignant part of the year to remember those who fall so valiantly so that we can live in the world that we are today without fear. I think before I was elected as a councillor, there was a screen that was showing the Remembrance service. The amount of people that head down to the Sansoft year on year, I think it increases year on year. There's thousands of people. I've had a chat with the clerk, had a chat with fellow councillors briefly this morning at the Armistice event today, and something that I'd like to potentially look into is if we could possibly hire screens or speak to other businesses in the local area that could potentially provide screening and videoing of the service. So those that are around the Cenotaph, around Park Green, are actually able to see the service going on. Because years gone by, I've been stood outside and not been able to see, and it is so poignant to feel that inclusion. I don't know if other councillors have got anything to say or any comments or something.
Yeah, I'd support that because having been inside the inner circle, obviously we get a fantastic view of everything that's happening. You can hear everything relatively clearly. But talking to some of our residents and in Macclesfield, they could hear what was going on but couldn't see what was going on, and found that a little bit frustrating. And I do agree with Councillor Wilcox that the numbers seen, just on the feeling, seem to be getting bigger as the years go on. So it'd be nice if everyone could see what was going on as well as hear what was going on. Otherwise, some people will get frustrated and maybe not go down to the event. But it's all about money at the end of the day, isn't it? So
it is. We seem to have 6,000 in the budget line, and I don't know. From my perspective, I think it's not only not only the screen, is it? It's the filming and making sure it's done professionally and it's good quality. And I totally agree with the crowd seems to stretch quite a way up sort of Mill Street, so they must be really struggling to feel part of it.
Yeah.
And I think particularly for young people, if you're in the middle of a crowd and you can't see over, and there is so much that goes on. As you say, we get very good views, don't we, when we're attending, but it would be really useful and yeah, I think it would create a much better quality of experience for everyone there. But go on, Councillor Clark, sorry. Do we, Councillor Wilcox first?
Thank you. I was just going to say, with the committee's approval, if we could ask the clerk to look into hiring screens, or if there are businesses in the local area that are able to potentially help, if it's something that we can direct the clerk to look into.
I would say, this is what I would say, that it would be me looking into it, being
No, I
a events
appreciate
person,
that.
and with Christmas coming up, she's busy.
Yeah, no.
So I would say budget it in now, so the money's there in the budget. The remembrance budget's gone up from 6,000 to 8,200
Okay.
because we have to pay for road closures because volunteers won't be doing it anymore. So they're in the region of 2,000. So I would say budget at least 3,000-4,000 for a screen. It's not cheap. And the one thing just to consider is everything's possible. However, everybody will want the same services that day because you've got all the towns in Cheshire doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I would budget it in, and Rachel will do her best because Rachel organises pretty much all of Remembrance really. So it's down to finding the right company and being in the right situation, that trees aren't in the way, lamp posts, electricity sockets, you know, it's so if we can, absolutely, but I would budget it now.
So you'd like to increase the budget from the 8,200 up to?
I would say increase it to maybe 12,
Okay.
and then we can see if there's an underspend, then that's great. We can maybe put it into an earmark reserve for the year after. But yes, if we can do it, absolutely will, depending on technology and where a screen can go.
And if it can be a local business involved, obviously that would be preferable.
I think the
If possible.
company that do it are from Knutsford, they want to do the sound. Am I getting
I
mixed
think
up?
so, they're fairly local,
Yeah.
maybe not
Yeah.
completely local.
The thing with Remembrance and Armistice, it's just that it has to be spot on because it means so much
Yeah.
that, you know, in other events you might be able to say, oh, I don't know, Art Space have got a screen and a stage and you might be willing to, but I think with Remembrance it's the kind of thing
Got to get it right.
you want it right and professional because it matters so much. So I would suggest adding that up to 12,000 and then adding in the footfall figures of 2,700 as well.
Excellent.
And then that can go to full council if anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to, with those amendments,
Yeah.
I'm happy to propose the budget. Is anyone else happy to second it? Thank you,
Second as
Councillor.
well, yeah.
Just checking, is there any other questions on the budget at all? Any other comments?
I think it's good.
No? Shall we vote on that then? Lovely, excellent. So we'll take that through to full council on the 16th of December. So, no, any other business? Nothing come through? No, so the date and the time of the next meeting is 7 PM on the 3rd of March, here at Huddersfield Town Hall.